Before we get to that, as we celebrate, our nation's independence, you might want to take a look at your financial independence, right? Well, joining us now is David Stryzewski from Sound Planning Group, a local financial expert with some tips for you for how to control your finances. David, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure's mine.
All right, so the big question, what does it mean to be financially independent?
There's a couple of different definitions, right? So some would say, hey, I put away so much money that I'm never going to outspend it. So that's financial independence. Others would say moving out of mom's house would be financial independence. Others would say, hey, getting some debt paid off, making sure that we got enough going in that once we get to retirement that we can maintain our lifestyle. That would be financial independence. So I've got 4 tips with us here today in order to help to achieve some of those goals.
All right, so what are some of those tips? What are the first one?
Okay, so spend less than you earn. So I've got this great phrase. If your outgo exceeds your income, your upkeep will be your downfall. So when we begin to look at planning, we need to talk about spending. So most of our expenses are fixed expenses, mortgages and taxes and yada, yada, yada. And then we've got some wants and some things that we want to do in life. So what we want to make sure is that we've got enough coming in versus going out. And so that's step 1 in sort of our planning process. And we've actually just made available on our website that people can download a personal financial dashboard that will actually track their spending for them as well as their accounts and make sure that they can kind of achieve some of these goals that they're trying to go towards.
Excellent. I like that. I'm a person that needs to see a plan for me.
That's right.
Before I can. What are some other tips that people can take away from to be financially independent, halfway through the year?
That's right. Well, you want to make sure that you're paying yourself first. And this seems like a no-brainer, but oftentimes people are saying, well, hey, I'm just contributing 3% into my 401k. Our goal is actually to save 10 to 15% inside of our 401k. And the reason why is that we want to make sure that we've got enough money at the point in time that we want to retire. Of course, we all want to do that. We want to make sure that there's enough there in order to make sure that we've got a meaningful lifestyle there for the future. So 10 to 15%.
All right. And what do you say, for people who might think financial independence is maybe unattainable or something very scary? Some people who might be looking at their bank account, maybe get a little nervous thinking that you'll never get into a secure place.
Well, so number 1, we want to start with that spending plan that we just did. Then the next thing is we want to make sure that we are singing off the same sheet of music here. So if you're married, we want to make sure that we're both coming to the table and having the same conversation. We talk to people all the time that are 60 years old that have no clue on whether they're good or not because they've been living financially independent lives from one another, different bills, they don't know the accounts. And so we want to make sure that we can marry that together and put all the elements into the right plan.
Excellent.
Which brings us to our last point, which is the plan. And so what we do here at Sound Planning Group is we specialize in retirement planning. And so one of those things is sitting down with families and saying, hey, when do we want to maximize Social Security? When are we going to retire? None of us want to pay a penny more in taxes than we want to. So if we can coordinate what accounts, what amounts that we're going to withdraw from each and every year in order to make the right financial decisions, we can potentially save hundreds of thousands of dollars just even in taxes. So getting the right plan together is really what it's all about. Not just using an advisor for a 60-40 portfolio of stocks and bonds. It's the things that we can control, getting that written on paper like you had said.
Excellent. It's very possible. Doesn't have to be intimidating. Again, let's go over, what is that website again?
It is myretirement.tips, and on there we've got that personal financial dashboard that people can request, and we'll be happy to share with them a free license on that, and they can use it and really help to get some of those goals together.
All right, David Stryzewski, thank you so much for joining us this morning.